Welcome back, Tribe. I have an episode here from a fairly small channel called Raymond Thoughts and Minds, and why everyone is single now. Dude goes in pretty hard, apparently. Let's get into it.
I am decidedly the subject matter expert in this field. I have been single since 2011, but really 2010. My last actual relationship, that being one in which a woman voluntarily called herself my girlfriend and actually wanted to spend time with me. We attempted living together. Basically, the relationship devolved last year of college, and then basically she found other people to sleep with. So it was by de facto over because I wasn't going to tolerate that situation. Since then, there have been a handful, and I mean a handful of trysts, one-night stands, all in my early 20s, some in New York City, but really not a lot. Not a pleasant dating experience, to be honest. The last real actual date I went on was in 2016, I think. It was right back when I moved back to Ohio. And it was with a former high school friend who got married right out of high school. And then she was basically, this was 10 years after high school, and she had been divorced. And I later found out she was basically meeting up with all the guys she had crushes on during high school. And I was in the worst shape of my life. I weighed 80 pounds heavier than I weigh now. I was actually unemployed. I was back crashing with my parents for a couple months. But definitionally, I had nothing going for me. And she just chose to have a tryst with me for a couple days, and that was that. And I ended that because, again, I found out she wanted to be with more people than one person at a time. So I'm not going to participate in that kind of lifestyle. So my standards being what they are, I have been single, and there have been no one interested basically since I started shaving my head. All of that to say, preamble to this article, it seems like, some people have been mentioning this. Aaron Clary talked about this recently in a video where basically conventional employment and conventional marriage, conventional relationships are basically an archaic thing of the past. The young women have made it clear they don't want anything to do with traditional relationships, let alone marriage. I'm not bemoaning that fact. I'm not being sorrowful. I'm not being depressed about it. This seems to be the trend in which we are going, where women are choosing to stay single, hook up with a guy if he's hot enough or meets her standards for pleasure in the moment. But otherwise, they have the state that funds their lifestyle, and even the ones that pay their own way for everything, they are wanting to stay single. But it seems to be part of the zeitgeist now that single is here to stay. And as Yahoo Life says here, by way of this company called Bold, I don't know what Bold is, but it looks like a sponsored link. Oh, a woman's dating and relationship website. Okay, so it's a republished article by Natasha Lee, 13 surprising reasons more people are choosing to stay single than ever before. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into reader's view. So let's find out from the horse's mouth, and I'm saying that on purpose. No, women are not horses, obviously, but you can, like a woman and a horse, you can lead them to water, but you can't make them drink. God. And
Frustrated.
So 13 surprising reasons. Let's find out what lucky 13 is. Marriage rates are dropping. Yeah, they're falling flatline off a cliff. Women, they've been convinced, I say it all the time, they've been convinced since they were young that the worst thing that could happen to them is to become a wife and a mother. And actually, in reverse order, they would rather become a single mother. They literally would rather have a hot guy's kid, hot definitionally by whatever metric they have. They voluntarily choose to be single mothers. Look at Ashley St. Clair, single mother by two different people, chasing specifically men of influence and power to have their offspring with the intention of having that be a single mother situation. And yes, that is all encompassing of the child welfare state and all this.
And that other chick too, Bobby something, I forgot what her name was, the industry plant that came on the scene and all of a sudden had a very popular podcast that she was like a white girl. I don't even know if she's white or Jewish or whatever she is. This chick came on the scene, interviewed Drake on her like very first video, whatever. She was like married with 2 kids or a kid at least. And basically what her life devolved into is she divorced her husband, left her family so she could get pumped by like the whole rap industry. She's got a new rapper on her arm like every other day. Basically, Drake turned her out. So yeah, they'll leave perfectly good lives with men who care about them and hoe it up. She was excited for her hoe phase. She said, I was watching somebody put together like a meme reel of her.
Other stuff and men, divorce rate,
that shit's wild.
Obviously, when I say those statements, I'm understand that the scaffolding behind those statements is informed by the absolute one side.
I'm convinced. I'm super convinced after living overseas that almost no woman in the Western sphere is worth getting married to. The likelihood that they make good wives is damn near zero. You have to seriously go overseas to find somebody that has old world values. That's the truth. Even these trad cons that have come on the scene, these conservative women or these stay-at-home mothers that have this like aesthetic of being traditionally minded, don't really cut it with what I've seen out here in the countryside. When I look at the family system here, I'm reminded of what real conservative values are. And even the most conservative women in America are brutally left-wing compared to the people in more traditional societies. So either way, as a man, you're going to have to settle for someone left-wing minded, leftist minded, liberal, whatever you want to call them. That's not real conservatism. That's not real traditional, period. You only really get to see how far the gap is. Because when I lived in America before traveling abroad and dating and seeing what it was like, I was like, okay, cool, TradCon influence. Yeah, she's at home cooking. Yeah, but she's on camera. Well, at least she's showing it, trying to empower women to be stay-at-home mothers, because the narrative is so toxic on women going the other way of going traditional, right? Because feminists will say that she's a pick-me, she's internalized misogyny, and she's setting us back 100 years, blah, blah, blah. But then you have real questions. Why are you filming everything? That's strange. So you have a business where you make money. Okay. From home. Kind of not a problem, but also, how real is this aesthetic? Do you do this for your husband, for your kids? Are you really out there living the homestead life? Do you really preach traditional values off camera? Like, how many of these quote tradcons are married, living on a homestead, doing the homestead thing, like they show themselves as sometimes, or preaching about? How many of them were married virgins, for example, if that's one of your sticking points? How many of them are religious and go to Sunday mass? How many of them can do really traditional things like, for example, pickle your own vegetables and fruits, make gems and jams at home, cook bread from scratch, shit like this. My mother does that. My woman can do that. A lot of the more traditionally minded women out here outside of the capital do that. Were raised in that environment. How many of those women in America or the West in general that are preaching the conservative lifestyle really, really embody it, as opposed to just like a way to make money because it's an aesthetic that men are simping hard over, wishing that they could find women like that, so it opens up a market big time. Like a lot of this online shit is really grifty, dude. And for the trad wife or conservative woman, I didn't really see just how liberal they were. Like calling them covert feminists like Andrew did from The Crucible, it's really true. It is covert feminism, because they always say that a traditional man sacrifices for his family. A traditional man provides for his family. And it's like, but you're overweight. But you fucked half the city. But you don't know how to do any of those conservative things I mentioned earlier. And you bring almost nothing to the table besides like fake nails, lashes, done up hair, a lot of Botox costs, fillers, all this shit. But you don't have the other side. So you want to be a conservative woman, aka lounge by the pool while your man is out working, sipping a fucking homemade mojito. Like, what? Do you have chickens? Can you go get some eggs? I keep mentioning that funny ass shit about plucking a chicken. You don't literally have to know how to process a whole chicken once you cut its head off, but it's a funny way of exemplifying the difference between what life is like outside of the West versus what the West claims is traditional and conservative. When the mainstream conversation is what is a woman, what is a man, and people cutting off their body parts and shit, or putting kids on what do they call those? They're hormone blockers, but they give them the PEDs. Chemical castration. Yeah, those are chemical castration agents given to children. What? Like, that's how far liberal in general. So even if you call yourself a conservative, know that truly, by your grandpappy's definition, you are a libtard to the max. So think about, the Overton window has shifted so much, man.
I did socioeconomic equation that is having a kid with a woman who can just leave you for no reason. I understand that fact. You don't need to tell me over and over again how horrible life is and how wonderful it is for me never to get laid. I get it. Marriage rates are dropping, and it's not random. These surprising factors explain why. More and more people are opting out of traditional relationships, and it's not just a passing trend. It's a multi-decade psyop that they've been running on us since the 60s. The idea of settling down isn't as universally appealing as it once was. No one wants to. It's completely out. It's not even an option anymore. And women have made that choice. And I'm not being negative or judgmental. I'm saying those are the facts on the ground. Women have made that choice. It's time for men to choose accordingly. And most of us just need to go buy a nice house somewhere that's small, live a nice, quiet life, and just visit Rosie Palm and the incognito tab as necessary. It sucks. It is what it is. I don't know what the solution is because you can't control other people. And if the majority of other people have chosen to not want to participate in the one thing that perpetuates the culture and provides a stable society, we have to, as men, we have to make choices that insulate our futures against the coming chaos, because it's coming.
Passport.
People are more flaky than ever before. Dating used to be about making plans and actually following through, but now reliability seems to be a thing of the past. People cancel last minute, forget about commitments, or disappear entirely without a second thought. Yeah, because there's always a better option, and there's no community around you to chastise you for not showing up to Billy's ball game or whatever happens in Opie Anthony's. What was that? The Ron Howard show from the 50s. The lack of accountability in modern social culture has made relationships feel like a revolving door of disappointments. Gee, I wonder why. Wonder who's turning the revolving door. As reported by Filter Off, flaky dating behavior refers to people who are unreliable when making and keeping plans. This includes canceling dates at the last minute, being late or completely standing up dates, saying they will call, text, but never do. Flakiness isn't just an occasional annoyance. It's a pattern that has made emotional investment feel like a gamble. Again, who is making these choices? It's not just about standing someone up for a date. It extends to friendship. Friendship is a thing of the past. I've been saying this. I really believe that friendship is kind of antiquated concept at this point. You have to just fend for yourself. You have to.
We're going off deep on the black pill here. Friendship is antiquated. Come on, bro. I don't know how long you've been isolated in your room and without female touch and all that shit. And I get the bitterness towards women in society and how fucked up everything is. And we lack a bunch of morals, yada, yada, yada. But brotherhood, real friendship amongst men, it still exists. Yeah. It may not be as easy as your grandpappy's time because we're very anti-social and probably choose, let me hop on the game with the boys and make friends online that way. But step your bald ass into a fucking MMA gym, get choked out, choke some people out, roll around, and see how quickly you start to develop a real deep bond with some of the people there that are attending. You would be surprised. It's just that men don't do physical activities together anymore. That's how you used to make friends. If you played sports while you were in school, if you played, team games, basketball, football, whatever, baseball in the neighborhood with your friends, rode bikes together, all that kind of shit. That's how you build explore in the woods together, go further than you've ever gone, shit like that. Go join motorcycle clubs, go join hiking groups, go join running groups that are practicing for half marathons or marathons. Like, you can make friends and you can make deep, long lasting bonds with people you could call your brothers, but you need to tie it around a physical activity. That's none of this shit is going to fall into your lap. So this part I disagree with, respectfully. Just saying.
Be your own friend, because no one else is going to come at all. And even long-term plans with so many people unwilling to put in consistent effort, it's no surprise that those who value stability and reliability would rather stay single than waste their time on people who don't respect it. And instead of chasing connections that fizzle out before they even start, many are finding peace in life where they can rely entirely on themselves. And they're also not mentioning that these women, just because they're single doesn't mean they're not getting completely ran through. They're having their fun on the weekends because their fun is just an app away. And men, we have to deal with it. And Belle Delphine has to be our whatever. Everyone ghosts instead of having adult conversations. Oh, okay. We're going to get lectured now by a woman about adult conversations and what should be an adult conversation and shouldn't be an adult conversation. Gone are the days of closure. Oh, again, who is she talking about?
Chads, bro.
I have attempted to have many of those final conversations with women. They are not interested in having that conversation with me.
You're not Chad.
Gone are the days of closure. Rather than facing awkward but necessary conversations, people simply disappear. One day you're texting like normal, and the next it's radio silence. The lack of accountability in modern dating has made relationships feel impossible. When genuine effort isn't reciprocated and communication is replaced with avoidance, staying single starts to feel more like a peaceful choice. Psych Central reports that common reasons for ghosting include not feeling a chemistry or connection and not being able to communicate that due to fear of hurting the person's feelings, as well as low emotional intelligence and emotional unavailability due to mental health conditions. Again, they're blaming men. They're blaming men.
Usual.
If he would just text me back, sorry, lady, he's got 4 other women he's banging right now too.
Pretty much.
Because you are all dating the same men.
True.
You want a text back. Date the guy that no one else is texting. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. Ghosting has become so normalized.
But they don't want the guy that no one's texting because no one's texting him for a reason. If I put a Honda Civic in front of you and a Ferrari and a BMW, which one are you going to pick? Of course you want the Ferrari. It's just choice. Women choose men like we're cars, bro. We're a type of purse to them, something they can show off to their girl. Look what I caught, essentially. And look at how much I can get him to simp. It's like a competition between women. Women, dude, you should hear a roundtable of women talking to one another about their men, either shitting on them or boasting about what their men are doing. And it's all like a power dynamic to make the other girls feel less than. Like they themselves feel better. Like, my man bought me this diamond ring. My man bought me this. My man booked a fucking. My man just got a fucking rate. My man did. It's all what their men did, and they base their value on what a man they're able to catch. The king doesn't get his value on the queen. A king can go pick out a fucking streetwalker, get married, and she's now the queen of the land. But that shit doesn't work in reverse. No one would respect the king anyways. He'd be a king in name only. But the moment a king truly picks a woman and she becomes queen, everybody keeps their fucking mouth shut about what she did, where she came from, because it's off with your fucking head.
As the people no longer expect proper goodbye. The fear of confrontation or simply the convenience of cutting ties without explanation has led to a dating culture where people are left with unresolved feelings and no sense of closure. I could tell you how I really feel. This kind of emotional whiplash makes relationships feel unstable and unreliable. Rather than subjecting themselves to the stress of constant wondering if someone will disappear, many people are opting out altogether, preferring a life where they have full control over their emotional well-being. Yet they're still going over to Chad's house at 3 a.m. on a Saturday night. We're not dumb, ladies. We understand what you're doing. Not all women, Raymond. Not all women. Yeah, well, where are they? And are they interested in me? The dream of getting married and having children doesn't ring true. Yeah, they've spent decades convincing everybody that having kids is the...
Someone tell this bro to just get a fucking passport already and go to Southeast Asia. Golly, or go to Eastern Europe. God. For real, bro, go take a trip to fucking Philippines or Thailand already. Jesus, like, where are the women that are interested in me? Clearly, the West is shit. Go take a fucking month-long vacation. You won't spend a lot of money in these countries. The Airbnb alone for a month will be like $400 goddamn dollars. And then go chill and spend $1 or $2 a day just eating out. And then go sit by the beach, go talk to some people, go date on the fucking dating apps and watch your fucking inbox explode with like hundreds of matches. Yeah, most of them are fucking scammers looking to get money out of you, but some of them might be decent. And at least you'll get your beak wet. And you could even walk up to a girl and say hi if you think she's cute, if she's behind a counter selling fucking fruits or something, and actually get responses back in a date. Come on, bro. The bitterness, the cynicism, that shit doesn't help your case, especially when we're talking about women.
Worst thing that could happen to you. I see it all the time in my comments. Almost all of you think that having children would be a horrible mistake. They got you. They got you. The death cult got you.
Yep. It was a psyop.
For generations, marriage and children were considered the ultimate life goals. Now, more people are questioning whether that's really what they want. The idea of settling down in traditional family structures doesn't appeal to everyone, and many are realizing they don't need it to feel fulfilled. It's not about feeling fulfilled. It's pearls before swine. It's not even worth trying to articulate to you people the importance of the nuclear family. The researchers identified several reasons why more and more women are choosing not to be married, including infidelity, increasing career opportunities, and independence, finding more security living with their parents and siblings. Let's go over that list again really fast. The researchers identified several reasons why more and more women are choosing not to get married, including infidelity. Why are you dating the same guys? If you're worried about infidelity, why are you all dating the same men and swapping the same men? You're all choosing voluntarily to exist in harems. And then you're blaming the men. No one's holding a gun to your head making you do these things. But culturally, you're all dating the same guys. Increased career opportunities. Again, a choice. Independence. Finding more security. Living with parents and siblings. Because God forbid you trust a man. Like the common trope is always men are evil, men are evil, men are evil. You always have to be defensive against men. Men are the worst thing that could ever happen to you. Men are just abusers and users. Never mind, you give the bald...
the bald guy. But he's got to get over the bald shit already. The problem is those women that are choosing to stay at home, a man is enabling that, aka a father or a stepdaddy. They're footing the bill for all of these little princess mentality types. They help create these monsters, and they never held them accountable for anything. And so they're getting bailed out by family. So how do you think a woman in that environment that could use that option, daddy pays for everything, how do you think she's going to treat her man? Like a walking wallet and manipulate him for things, because that's what she does to her own father. This is what I tell you guys, dude. Be very careful when you're selecting for women today. 2 things you really got to see: her family dynamic and social media use. That's it. You will flesh out 99% of the bad actors immediately just by doing that. And I know a lot of dudes that are in relationships right now and they kind of made the wrong choice. And then they got the sunk cost fallacy like, oh shit, I found this out later. Or, oh fuck, that was a red flag. I should have acted upon that. And now you're stuck, bro. You feel like you've invested too much and they don't leave, hoping that it gets better. Newsflash, it doesn't. A vast majority of the time, these people don't have like the fucking IQ, the self-awareness to look in the mirror and go, I'm the one here who's at fault. Can you imagine a woman saying that? I'm at fault. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I'm trying to fix it. Okay. And you're expecting this problem to somehow go away, resolve itself, or get fixed in some manner anytime soon. Why do you think I preach passport? Because there is no other option. I wouldn't be interested if I had to go back. If I had to go back, single, trying again in the United States after seeing what's out there in the rest of the world, I'd give up. I'd quit. I wouldn't even be interested in trying to look for in small towns because, like I said, the culture is shifted so far left that even what's considered a conservative is a flaming fucking leftist. So, no thank you. I'm good on that. I'll pass on the needle in a haystack, 1 in a million. No thank you. No thank you. You have to be raised in a very traditional, conservative, patriarchal family unit where your father runs everything with an iron fist. His rule is law. Your mother acts like a woman, super feminine, does her motherly duties and her feminine duties. They have a great healthy dynamic between, the polarities of male and female, masculine and feminine. They've raised kids successfully who aren't also broken themselves. And, once you find all that in the social media use, you vet your own on that too, then we can talk. But finding that in a woman in America, given the fact that 1 in 3 kids are practically born without a father in the household, single mothers, like, dude, what? The degenerate shit that they're listening to from music, what's mainstream, TV, what's mainstream, streaming services, what's mainstream, movies. That woke progressive messaging is fucking hitting them from all aspects of their lives. No, thank you. No, thank you. I would save my money and I would go overseas once I saved enough to go get a ticket a month away somewhere. And that's it. And I would figure out a way, so help me God, to either live overseas, finance myself remotely in some way, or think about bringing one back if you find a really good one and you vetted her properly. That's it, because fuck that. It's rare. The only other time you could do this if you catch like a first generation immigrant. Okay, I'll give you that, actually. If you meet a woman that's first gen immigrated to America, there you go. And not deep in the sauce of the culture just yet. That's it. That's all you could really do. I'm just being honest.
$100,000 a year business owner who owns multiple properties, a chance. No, he's an angry incel who just yells at the internet. So you just want to email him to tell him you want to have a nuanced conversation, which is really just coded language for, I'm going to call you a horrible person with a bunch of big words and try to castigate you and make you feel small, all while reminding you that I'm not only uninterested in you sexually, but, I'm also not looking for attention. No, you are looking for attention. The shift in priorities isn't just personal, it's cultural. No shit, Sherlock. More people are seeing the realities of marriage and parenthood, the sacrifices, the expenses, the lifelong responsibilities, and deciding that it's not for them. Yeah, and then when everyone decides that it's not for them, we have airplanes falling out of the sky and bridges falling into the rivers. You guys think this is a joke. When you go to flush your toilet and all your shit just overflows back up into your bathroom and there's no one you can call to fix it and you have no idea how to fix it and there's no men left in your life willing to put up with your ass to come over and fix it. Oh, and when the electricity stops working and there's no food in the stores and beef is $90 a tube and eggs cost $120 a dozen. Those are the downstream consequences of everybody making the choice that they can't stand anybody, all of their choices of the hundreds of millions of people that are available for them. There is no viable options. I made a video a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whenever it was. It was something about like men are just giving up in droves. And every comment I got was, I'm 29, I'm 33, I'm 35, I'm 36, I'm 25, masters of whatever, paralegal, nurse practitioner, just high dollar career stuff, mechanical engineer, work in IT, web developer, business, $100,000 salaries, been doing this for years, cannot get a date. Dude, guys, the men are checking out. The ladies, you got a rude wake-up call coming. You really think that you all can just en masse tell every guy no and have no consequences? Now, I'm not obviously...
Kind of sort of big daddy government is there to subsidize their lifestyles, like you mentioned earlier. That's why they're able to do this. Hey, dude, get rid of divorce, like child support, get rid of that. Alimony, get rid of that. Once you divorce, you walk away with your half and she walks away with her half. There is no support after that. Watch what happens. Yeah. Get rid of the child support courts completely. Get rid of them. So if you have a baby out of wedlock, if you have a baby, period, with a man that you shouldn't even spread your legs to, don't expect to get a single fucking penny for that kid. You're going to deal with this yourself. And then punish them too. You know, there should be, for example, incentives to get married, incentives to have more than one child, like 2 to 3 in a family, incentives to stay together. Remove all the incentives because we're incentive based. Okay. You can't really punish somebody like have a bachelor tax to force men to get with women if it gets as bad as he's saying. The next step logically for government would be like, oh, we're collapsing society, the demographic decline, and the GDP output is declining. We need more men. Well, we need more men to have babies with these women that they don't want. So we're going to introduce a bachelor tax. Like to be alone, you're going to have a 14% penalty on income raise. You're going to have a blah, blah, blah income penalty on this. You're going to have a penalty on buying a house. Penalties for being single, while women get no penalties. All right. So that's one form of punishment that they could institute. But instead of punishing people, why don't you incentivize? We've already seen this work in history. If you get married, let's give you a government-backed loan to be able to buy a house and start your life with your nest egg. Then for every child you have there, up to 4, 5 or more, we'll take, say, like 25% off of each of the loan, whatever's left on the principal payment for the house. So you keep making those payments, you have 1 kid, keep making payments, you have 2 kids, oh, half the loan's gone. Keep making another, whatever is left of that loan, 75% of that's gone. And the 4th kid, it's all gone. You just created 4 people that will pay into the system their entire lives, which they then may have 4 kids also, each to take these incentives. Then let's give these people that have stayed together also some startup money for a business, potentially, a loan that you'll have to pay back. Something. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. Reduction in the cost of buying a car. You know, how we do the credits for EVs? Fuck the credits for EVs. How about you give family of 4 credits to buy a vehicle, right? So if you incentivize society towards family planning, you will have more babies, more people sticking together. And then it's a penalty by default to not have a marriage and 4 kids and all that other shit that you could be getting money back for, right? Like taxes is another one. Say your tax rate is 25%, whatever. 20% is what you're paying in taxes. 30%, 40%, it doesn't matter. Just say you're paying 30% in taxes. If you got 4 kids, your tax rate goes down to 10% as parents. How about that too? How about that? That's a big incentive, bro. Get rid of your taxes. Because all that extra tax money that they're taking from you just goes into feeding your kids, educating your kids. What do you think that does to society as a whole? Think about it. Does the government really need all that tax money, or can they just let the people who are starting families keep more of it in their pocket so they can raise better future humans for society, which the government will then get more money and then put more money back in their pocket? Because do we need the government to have all this extra money? Is the government able to magically turn all this shit show around and do something good with the extra money we're giving them? Can we trust them to use that money morally, but also to the benefit of the citizenry? Or just fuck it off in foreign wars and shit like that. So you know what I mean? Take the money that we're giving to the government, give it to the families. There's so many ways to incentivize family planning. They don't do it because they don't care. It's lip service. You know what the government does well on? This kind of division. You get bitter men, angry that they're alone. Then you get these delusional women getting pumped and dumped and becoming demoralized and full of depression and anxiety. And as long as you keep people separated like this, you stoke the gender war division. You stoke division in general amongst people. You politicize everything. The government can rule over a divided mass of people. That's what this shit is. And we're all going to suffer for it. It's not just women. Like he's saying, like, wait, ladies, until your shit backs up in your toilet. It's like they'll at least have somebody to call. It'll be a man that comes charges them up the ass to fix that, but the other side of it is men won't have legacies to pass down. Men won't have family, anything to work for. Anything to work towards, anything to get them up out of bed. You could just chill on a minimum wage job as long as the bills are paid in a small place and just game. The new GTA 6 is coming out and it looks fucking ridiculous. That trailer just dropped. I haven't gamed in years and I was looking at the trailer. I'm like, oh my God, if this is not cutscenes and this is gameplay, I am blown away at what's coming down the pipeline. feed that fucker into those Apple glasses where you're like live in there, it feels like, fully immersed, game over, bro. I'm getting the bare minimum job that I need because I can't afford a house, can't afford a woman, can't afford a family. They stole the American dream and sold off my fucking future to fucking factories over in China, NAFTA, and all this other bullshit, and billions to Ukraine and billions to fucking Israel, but won't fix our country at home, stoking all this division to keep us all divided so we can't vote for common sense policies, centrist policies that would help the common man instead of all these corporations and special interest donors. I'm gonna fuck off and play GTA 6 with my Apple glasses. I'm good. I'm good, bro. I understand the frustration men are feeling. The system is bullshit. It's not just the system. It's corrupted every aspect of society. You can't even escape it if you wanted to. The only thing you can do, and this is what I tell men, besides turning inward and becoming like a recluse or a hermit, right, and fucking off with a plot of land and just living your life like that, if you have that innate drive as a male to start a family, to have kids, to be the leader of your household, you have to get a fucking passport and get out. You have to see it for yourself. It's unfortunately true.
Not advocating for some Handmaid's Tale wet dream thing. You women think that men just sit around wanting a sex doll that's always on call, that'll also make him sandwiches. It'd be nice to have a woman who likes to cook, but for God's sakes, like, I'm sorry, but there has to be some kind of higher calling or higher ethic that leads to population propagation, because you cannot just keep bringing in immigrants. This is not working long term. And every man is miserable. And I don't care how much you want to gaslight me and tell me, guys, that you're finding so much peace and so much understanding and so much like, I'm enjoying my hobbies and enjoying my life alone. And
Thank you.
We need some sort of societal structure that continues the population.
Thank you, dude. There's so many guys that you see in the comments coping on their version of cope, just like the women do when they're freshly divorced and they're like so happy to be free. And the guys are coping. I'm like, I'm 52 with my dog walking in the woods every day. I'm happy. It's like, come on, bro. You're post-divorce. Your wife took your kids. You don't even see them anymore. They hate you. She fucking mind controlled them. You got wrecked for over half of your shit. You're not happy. You're just surviving with very little. Or the guy that never even made it that far. He'd never had a family. No woman ever, was interested in that way. And he's like, I'm happy. I don't have to deal with all these crazies and shit like that. It's like, if you're earning decent money and you could afford to travel and you didn't choose to just to see what the other side is like, you fucked yourself over on that one. Like, don't tell me you chose solitude. That's like dudes saying they're going their own way and they're 17 years old. What are you talking about, bro? You can't even afford to live on your own. There's no going your own way. This is just the option you have to be on your own, alone, because no woman wants you at 18, 19, 20 because you're broke, because you're in school, because you have nothing to offer, because, you got to get some experience. You got to work a bit. Your 20s are where you get ahead in life. 30s are where you can finally start playing in the economics that we're in today. We're not in the same time our grandpappies were, where they could get a job at Ford in fucking Michigan like 1950 and pump out some fucking V8 big block on an insane salary given their day, afford a house plus a wife to stay at home and 2 kids with a perfect lawn and a big ass dog. And he put himself through school if he wanted to on a part-time job working as a fucking server. And the school was paid off. Like, those days are gone. It now takes like the average to have kids and get married now for men is like 34, 35. And for women, it's approached 30. So I guess you could saw a pinnacle of adulthood being married with a family by classical Western standards, traditional standards, got delayed from 21 to 22, hell, even 19 to 20, to a decade. It takes us a decade longer to reach that level of security and maturity. So something's fundamentally wrong with society.
It really bothers me that I was apparently born literally at the end of history. Like, my generation is going to be the last one. My parents, my dad has a sister. My mom has 2 sisters. All of them got married. There was one divorce among all of the couples that ended up pairing off in the extended family. There was one divorce. That marriage rendered 4 kids, I think 5 kids maybe, and like 5 grandkids apiece off of that. The other side, all 3 sisters got married. My mom had the most kids of those. So it was 2 kids for the other 2 and then 3 for my mom. And none of the other cousins are married or have any kids. On the other side, I think they all got married and had kids, but that was the family that got divorced. I mean, I obviously have been unsuccessful in getting married and having a kid. My brother got married. He has 1 child. My parents have 1 grandkid. I don't think my sister's going to get married. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm not going to assume or not assume. But this endless personal fulfillment bullshit that everybody seems to think that they deserve. It's like my only standard for a woman is be in the same body mass index as me. It's not a high standard, guys.
Mm-hmm. The personal fulfillment, the greed, the individualism. We lost our collective nature after World War II for a reason. Patriotism, nationalism, all that shit is not allowed. I'll be honest, for white people, it's allowed. You could be patriotic and nationalist about every other country except white ones. That's the truth. Because we equate nationalism and patriotism amongst whites with Nazi Germany, fascism and world wars. That's what the narrative is. So you can't, that's really what it is. So we've built a society where you have to hate your roots, hate your past, hate everything about your country, despite living in the most civilized, wealthiest, decadent era in human history. And you're not allowed to be proud of that unless you're not from those countries. That's what it is. This is the part that we cannot say out loud. So, for example, Hispanics, or specifically, I remember my Mexican friends have I don't know if it's Latin American wide, but they call it La Raza, right? Pride in the race, right? You're allowed to have that. Brown pride, whatever you want to call it. Then there's, Black power. Of course, you have the famous fist, whatever. You have like the Black Panthers and all that stuff. Asians don't know. They have their own thing where they're very prideful and nationalistic in their own countries. And whatever, everybody's got something. But when I say white power, what do you think of immediately? When I say nationalism in European countries, what do you think of immediately? But when I hear something like, nationalist in Nigeria, I go, oh, that's cool. It's people who love Nigeria, patriots who want to see Nigeria prosper and would want a strong Nigeria and with safety and secure borders and, securing the future of the Nigerian people. But if I say German nationalists, everybody's like, oh, Nazis. It's not German people that want to secure the race of the German nation and the people, right? Secure the existence of their people. It's not strong German borders, German ideology, right? German culture being preserved. It's not allowed. Why? Isn't that strange? So if we're going to talk on a fundamental level about we have an issue with individualism, then that means we need to move back into a more collectivist mentality for the state, for the people, for the blood and the ground which you are living on. We need to embrace our history, okay? We need to embrace the culture that we came from, the past, the things that our grandfathers bled for. Now that starts sounding racist, depending on who you are and the perspective you want to take. But if you say that shit about any other country like Nicaragua, fuck it, Costa Rica, whatever, then it's fine. Totally cool. But when you're white and try to be proud about something, you can't. So in our Western society, you can't have patriotism. You can't have nationalism. You have to import people because making more white babies is bad. You can't talk about the degeneration of society in the context of progressive values and a rabid liberal individualism that's absolutely corrupted every institution at its core, with ideologies that are not rooted in biology in the natural world anyway. You can't say that we need to move in lockstep with one another, that we need to band together, that we need to secure the existence of our XYZ, whatever Western country you want to say you're from. I found out recently, just reading into history and stuff, because I find this conversation fascinating, especially what's going on with that Shiloh woman and this racial baiting shit that's going on with the GoFundMes and all this shit. That's an interesting conversation for the culture. But I found out recently that the term melting pot in the United States was created around the time, or I should say, it was created by a dude named Israel Zangwill, something like that, in the year it's like early 1910, 1908, something like that, early, dude, before the 1920s. America was predominantly white, and they were having conversations then if Italians were even considered white, if Irish people were even considered white. So that the whole term of melting pot with the United States it was amongst the quote white races. I swear to you, check this, look it up. You can look it up because that's what it was. It was a melting pot of let's accept Italians as white, let's accept the Irish as white, let's accept the less white races because America was predominantly white back then as white. Right? Let's all be a melting pot, obviously by a dude named Israel. So, go look into that rabbit hole if you want. Who benefits from being called a melting pot, when the state of Israel didn't exist. So you're seen as an outsider anyways. You're a people with no land. And, that kind of messaging probably is super advantageous for you when people are nationalistic, when are very much so patriotic about their blood, where they come from, their nation, their country. And you're seen as an outsider, a people with no land, yada, yada. So that's a historical fact that you got to go look into yourself. But it threads into our current future. Our society today is exactly functioning, I don't know if I'd say as intended, but as a direct result of 2 world wars in Europe. Those shaped the culture, the way of life, the economic foundations, and the policy that we are living under today. But people think that so far in the past that's history, that it has nothing to do with the way of life that we have today, with the rot, with the degradation and degeneration of society. I would argue that it's even more important today to look back during those times and see what happened then and how that led to the world we're living in today. Just saying. Those are just historical facts. The guy that I'll double check this. I'll look this up just to be 100% sure. Okay. So the term melting pot as a metaphor describing the United States fusion of cultures was popularized by playwright, it says, Israel Zankwil through his play titled The Melting Pot, first performed in 1908. Israel was a British author of Jewish heritage who wrote The Melting Pot to reflect America's identity as a nation, absorbed and integrated immigrants from a diverse ethnicity into a new unified American culture. So, you had tons of British coming over, tons of Irish coming over, tons of Italians coming over, Germans coming over, and all the other countries from old world Europe. They had a bunch of migrants coming over to America for a new start. And that created the new unified American culture. That's what they meant by melting pot. But I've heard it used today as a argument for what American identity is, as in we have no identity, we are a melting pot. And that anybody who comes from any land, anywhere, at any time, like that we're arguing with a porous border, that those can be Americans too. That what is an American anyways? Very interesting. So there you go. A little piece of history for you guys.
I gave up saying no kids by other men. I mean, for God's sake, I'm not getting married to these trollops. But it's almost like not even worth trying because there's so many barriers and there's so many people who just don't want anything to do with any kind of fucking future. Do you enjoy not having a future? Because I'm not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying this. And I have to live in this world with you. Okay? I've been on my deathbed. I had chronic liver failure, terminal. They didn't think I was going to live. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I turned around and woke up. I still have to live and be sober every day in this shit future. And nothing about the future is better. Nothing about this future is better. Everything is run by AI, fucking call centers. And then you have to say operator, 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 operator. And then they hang up on you. HP saying that they purposely fucking, if you want to talk to a human being, they make you wait for 15 minutes before they even route the call. Every new car is shit. The new home builds are shit. The currency is worth nothing. We have a zero trust society.
Trust, man. That's true. All of it.
Nobody can get laid. Ghosting. Ghosting is your concern. The sacrifices, expenses, the lifelong responsibilities, and deciding that it's not for them. The traditional blueprint for happiness has changed. And for many, the freedom to live life on their own terms is far more appealing than following an outdated script that doesn't fit the desires. What level of Dante's Inferno did the people who just endlessly pursued their desires end up on? Instead of settling down, they're choosing a path that prioritizes personal fulfillment over societal norms. Yeah, good luck. Again, this rampant selfishness is all predicated on the idea that there are altruistic, competent, conscientious people who will keep turning the levers that keep the power grid going for you. You can't just have endless pleasure and endless self-fulfillment. There has to be some level of sacrifice in your life. And some meta sacrifice, some grand existential sacrifice of perpetuating the species. People would rather travel than explore than settle down. Settling down often comes with responsibilities that can feel limiting. And for many, the freedom to travel and explore is far more appealing. What's funny is it just really isn't. They keep telling us this. I keep getting fed travel. Every live stream I do, every video I do, the comments are, you need to get out more. You need to go travel. I have no desire to travel. I don't know how to describe it. It's not there, guys. Without the constraints of a serious relationship or the obligations of family life, single people can prioritize adventure. Yeah, until when? Until you wake up at 35 and you realize that nobody wants to be around you? You're all going to get old. We're all going to get old. And we're not going to be able to just rely on hospice. You know what hospice is? Hospice is what they call, and the state pays for it, and they come and help you die. No, but you just want to have your endless fulfillment and travel and endless pleasures with hot Marco and Romeo and Chadio and Fadio over in Italy. Endless adventures and orgasms with no responsibilities. And you women, you would be fine with living that life and having the state pay for the whole thing while you do your travel blog bullshit. And then come back to the States at 60 and go, I've had a good life. It's time to go die and go to the Soylent Green factory and put on the tape of the sunset and go into the great beyond. You'd be fine with that. Oh, I can't work. I'm done. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to live anymore. You've all bought this lie. Are you enjoying your life? You know, I'm not trying, again, I'm being selfish here when I say this. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to convince anyone else how to live, how they should be, how life should be. I'm being virtuously selfish here in a Randian sense. I have to exist in this shit future, and I don't enjoy it. There's got to be someone who wants to have sex with, like, come on. Like, the great outdoors is having its moment, with the majority of people, 58%, interested in traveling for outdoors, trailed by people for arts and culture, food, and visit family and friends. Traveling offers a kind of fulfillment that relationships don't always provide. It's an opportunity to meet new... Again, they keep saying relationships, not hooking up, not sexual trysts. Many find that they don't want to give up this freedom for the sake of stability. The idea of being tied down to one place or the other person can feel suffocating when there's an entire world to see. For these individuals, staying single isn't just a phase. It's not a phase, Mom. It's a lifestyle choice that aligns with their sense of adventure and self-discovery. Dating apps feel more like a game than something serious. Because, again, I'm going to try to be nice. Whose fault is that, guys? Whose fault is that? Dating apps feel like a game? Whose fault is that? You know, there before probably 2015, you could actually go on a dating app in the morning and meet up with somebody for at least for drinks that night. And maybe they were using you to get drunk. That happened to me a lot. Some girl would, you know, she was not interesting, and she was not interested in getting to know me at all. She just wanted to get drunk. And then she'd turn on the waterworks, right, at about 8 or 9 o'clock when happy hour ended, and I paid the bill, and then put her in a cab and gave her $20. Gee, I wonder why I spent my 20s broke. Oh, you're a nice guy, Raymond. Fuck. Dating apps have made meeting people easier, but they've also turned dating into a numbers game with endless swipe. It's a numbers game for hot people. Dating apps is just a meat market for hot people, but they've also turned dating into a numbers game with endless swiping, short-lived conversations, and people treating connections like temporary distractions. Yeah, you pretty much just summed it up there, lady. It's hard to find something meaningful. The constant availability of new matches makes committing feel unnecessary. And many...
Look, bro, he's like 99.9% on point with everything he's saying. It's true. I get the frustration. I do. It's a little too bitter, but that's fine because he's living through it. And like he said, he has to live in this shit world with us. As the ladies would say, his perspective is valid for him. So it says, 56 years old, I can relate. Single, no kids. I'm decent looking and stable. Gonna go ride my bike. I've been a musician my whole life and really enjoyed the perks. I don't even know how many women I've known over the last 3 decades. About 7 years ago, I totally walked away from women. It took almost all of my life to figure out the source of most of my life problems. When I stopped worrying about women, my life radically changed for the better in every way. I'm financially, emotionally, and physically more secure than I ever been. I don't hate women. I just respect the damage they caused for me. It's not worth it at all. Yeah. Well, what's interesting is we have guys in the private community, for sure, multiple, that were feeling just like this, older dudes too. And they ended up moving overseas, and their view on life and women and family and all this shit. We've seen these videos on YouTube too. The guy was like, I was done. I got divorced. I got wrecked in court. I moved overseas to live off my pension. Found a beautiful woman. She's so soft, feminine, and caring. And like, oops, popped a baby out. You're 56 years old. You got a baby. And all of a sudden their tune changed real quick. So it's like you're swimming in a pool, or I should say a lake of shit. And then you're surprised why turds are just snapping on your line over and over again. And then when you go overseas and you get something decent, you don't even know how to act. And it changes your view on things completely. That's how far we've fallen. This one says, whoever thought society would suck this bad. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, I had hope. After 9/11, everything had gotten way worse every single year. Social media was the kill shot. Yeah, boys, I implore you to read about The last couple hundred years of Western society, um, the effects the world wars had, the battles that were being had, the capitalists versus the socialists, or I should say the fascists, the national socialists versus the communists, the banking element in that, what led to the American hegemony today, what caused the collapse of the British Empire, what happened to Russia post. Well, you could see how far Russia, I don't even want to get into it, Bolshevism and all that shit, Marxism. You have to read this for yourself. It's crazy amount of history. It's absolutely fascinating. It's like reading about, the Roman Republic turning into the Roman Empire, right? Its first emperor after Caesar, and what Augustus was able to do, and what happened there when they had the Pax Romana for however long that lasted, 200 years, 300 years, I can't remember. And, a period of massive growth and innovation and wealth. And then almost like America's going through it. It had its Pax Romana, and we're now in the age of crisis. And, it's very interesting. History rhymes. But nonetheless, boys, try to read more. After this video, try to get off YouTube. Leave a comment. What should it be for this video? Bald. He likes referencing that he's bald. No hate on bald dudes. It's a cool style. Wear it if you like. Look, this dude right here is bald. There's another bald dude right here. Look at him. He's bald. Look. Another bald dude. There's plenty of dudes that are bald. All right. Who else is bald? I don't know. Bald dude. He's almost bald right here. Check that out. He cut his hair damn near bald. So, this guy, he's like the world's evil, Dr. Evil right here. He's bald. You see, this dude, pretty much, he's bald too. All right, bro. It's all good. Look, that guy right there, bald also. You see, it's fine, dude. You don't have hair. It's okay. Rock's bald. Plenty of dudes are bald. Fine. So don't get hung up on that one. But comment bald on your way out. Help us in the algorithm. We're getting suppressed like crazy, especially saying some of the things I've been saying out loud. It's not popular to say. Anywho, do your own research. Find out what the world is all about. And potentially you might gleam into the future of where we're headed. As usual, boys, appreciate you for tuning in over all these years. And we'll see you on the next one, as usual, robotic-like. Clockwork. Take care.